Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a special treat for me. This is a new guitar that I just got yesterday. It's the Fender American Professional Classic Series. This is the Telecaster version. They got Strats and all, I believe it's for the whole lineup. It's kind of got a vintage vibe to it, which is kind of my thing. I kind of like that. So I'm going to play it a little bit. I'll go through the bridge pickup here, and then we'll do the middle position and then the neck position, and kind of go from there, and then we'll talk about the guitar a little bit afterwards. For reference, I'm going to run through the Spark Neo headset, mic'd up by this little mini mic, and the amp that I'm simulating is essentially an AC30 with some dirt on it. The tone knobs roll back just a little bit. It's like a quarter of the way. So that's the settings. Let's break into how this thing sounds. Okay, so there is the sound of the guitar. A little bit of a tuning issue with it this morning. Maybe I'm doing too much bending on the new strings or something, because it did just come from Guitar Center like the other day. So these strings probably still stretching out just a little bit. Anyways, this guitar is a great guitar. I'm really digging it. Aside from the price point, which is about $1,500, you know, it's really good. You could buy a used American Standard for like $900 to $1,000. And I'm not going to say that this guitar is necessarily any better, although it plays really, really nice. I think it's just the way that they made the neck is really what's making me think that this is like worth the $1,500. Here's what I mean. The neck finish is a satin kind of finish, so your hand moves really smoothly over the whole thing. I will say that the finish is still on the frets. They didn't do necessarily any dressing. Maybe a little, because you can see like the tippy tops of the frets are still that shiny kind of silver color, but they could use a little polishing because it's still very yellow. So they probably just sprayed this over and they didn't really do anything. It doesn't affect the playability. It's still really smooth, but just an observation. The tuners, they're vintage style tuners, more or less. Here's the backside. So vintage style, but they got a nut on the front. So that's kind of different than regular vintage, which just has the kind of the bushing there. I'm blanking on the technical term, but usually the vintage style tuners don't have a nut, to best of my knowledge. My T63 doesn't have that. So anyways, that's not a big deal because it stays in tune for the most part, aside from today. What else about this guitar, you ask? This has a classic, not classic. It's some kind of brand of pickup that they're using, but anyway, it emulates a '63 Telecaster, which sounds kind of a little bit more of a thicker sound than the like vintage like 50s or so pickup. I've got one of the like more vintagey style pickups in my Mexican standard Telecaster at home, and that sounds really good on its own, but it just doesn't have that it's not like thick. This sounds thick, especially when you roll the tone off and play it through whatever I'm playing here with the amp settings the way they are. So that's a good segue actually into the tone, which happens to be a grease bucket tone system, which is Fender's fancy tone thing. But it means that when you roll the tone off, you don't get a boost in the bass while you're losing treble. So it's a little bit more balanced. They accomplish that by using a resistor and a capacitor in some way. That's the difference in circuitry. I don't know what that really does. But the effect is that you don't you don't have an overpowering bass sound when you roll the treble off of these pickups. And these pickups are already, pretty good with the mid-range. So you could roll the tone all the way up. This is just kind of the spot that I play it in. I suppose back to the neck real quick. Somebody might care about this, but it's a C-shape, modern C-shaped neck. And it's a 9.5-inch radius. It plays really nice. It seems to like it tapers off down here, and the shape of the neck does change, which I believe is what Fender refers to when they're saying that it's a modern C-shaped neck. It seems like it just plays better in general. It feels nice and thick down here, but as you get a little closer to the bottom, it changes a little. I'm not sure if you can really see the profile there based on me holding it up, but it does appear to be a little thinner as you get a little closer to the bottom. That's all this cool stuff I can think about for this guitar. I've been really enjoying playing it, and I'm looking forward to maybe trying to use it in more videos and getting my practice in so I can, keep working on it. But that's the guitar in a nutshell. I think that if you're looking for a vintage style Telecaster and you can afford to spend a little bit of money, this is killer for what you get. So go check it out at whatever your guitar store is, and let me know in the comments what you think of the guitar. Have fun. Go play more guitar.